What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Logic Bomb Podcast, episode 17. We have quite an episode in front of you today. We just got over the Year 5 Season 2 Operation Steel Wave reveal. We have all been playing that for the past week, and we're going to be talking about that. We're going to get into some other topics here as we go along. But first, let me introduce you to CrossArchon. If you're not familiar with him, he's our guest today. He'll be joining in on the conversation. He's a fellow Rainbow Six Siege content creator, and we're certainly happy to have him with us today. How you doing, Cross?
I'm doing well. What's up, everyone? Thank you for having me on the episode today.
Well, it's going to be a good one, man. You picked a good one to join us. We have lots to discuss. Two kind of crazy operators that are going to be really fun to play. A lot of nerfs, buffs. Maru's a beast now. We're going to get into all of it, guys. So stay tuned and join in the conversation. We'll also maybe get into some other topics within the community that don't have to do with the new season necessarily. But first, let's throw out our merch. If you guys are interested in getting some Logic Bomb merch, whether it's a coffee mug or a hoodie, you can see Alex beautifully modeling it, and Pete. There's a link in the description, and there's also, if the link hasn't been working for you previously, we're going to get that changed this week, so it should work now. Okay, so check out our merch. Nice way to support us there. Would really appreciate it. With that said, guys, Operation Steel Wave, all four of us have been playing it for the last week. The test server at the time of recording this is just now going live. Thoughts?
Well, where do you start with that one? Attachment skins is damn amazing.
Oh,
I don't know why I get so happy about that. When I saw that, I got really excited, and I don't know why. It's like the smallest thing of the whole season, but it's just nice. Seriously, the rank changes are going to be life changing. Global ranks, super cool. Now, if you have your diamond friend in NA and your diamond in EU and you want to play together, you're not hurting anybody. You don't have to play 10 extra placement matches, and you can't use your 10 placement matches on your different accounts to go around and meme and destroy rank. You need to be level 50, and I think Jess did the math on that. It's like 46 hours if you do it the absolute fastest way. If you win every round in casual, you're spin botting your entire way through it. It's 46 hours to get there. So sure, people might say, well, cheaters are just going to buy accounts. Yeah, they're going to be more expensive, right? Because there's a PvE cap now on it. The level 100 games to get into champ is going to mean that people that got there had to perform well for a long period of time. You can't just play at weird times during the night where there's the least amount of players with unranked people, and it's just not going to work.
Should we clarify that? Is that 100 games per season or 100 games total on the account?
Yeah. Every season.
So you have to play 100 games. Wow.
But in all fairness, that is nothing for someone that reaches champ, right? Last season, when I got champ, it was exactly on the 100th game that I got champ. And that was just playing normal with, I think, 73% win-loss ratio.
Same for me.
Which is not amazing. Which is not amazing. It's not bad. That's playing with pretty good people and against pretty good people, and it just takes a while, unless you're getting the most focus stack in the entire world together, and you don't meet a single cheater or anything, right? 100 games is really doable. A lot of sweaty rank stacks play 200, 300, 400 a season. I love it.
I was thinking about that. Do you think to some extent that will dissuade cheaters? And let me explain. By the time you do, a lot of the cheating is the kudos of getting to champions rank or getting right up there. By the time you played 100 matches, I mean, you've really exposed yourself to the anti-cheat a lot, right?
Yep.
So the argument goes that by the time you get to champions rank, you might have already had your account banned. So why bother? And it's just to deter people from cheating. So you could
not only that though. What let's say little Jimmy wants to be champ so he can show off to the girl he likes at school. That's 100 games he has to pay for.
If you to get boosted? Oh yeah.
Instead of 20? I think we can get to champ in 20 games or less, probably 16, 17.
Yeah, that's what it usually takes.
Definitely makes it a chore. for both
At
cheaters
least
and
it's
people
5
getting
times
boosted.
as expensive, right? At least. So I think it's gonna matter. There's still gonna be cheaters. Let's be fair and honest. Like, you're not gonna just delete them out of everything, but there'll be less.
No, I agree. I agree with those changes, and I'm happy that they're coming in the upcoming season.
Interesting that you mentioned quality of life changes first there, Alex, because we got 2 operators that are kind of nuts.
Yeah.
But you went straight into the quality of life changes. Let me clarify one thing real quick, just for any viewer that's not familiar with what we mean by global ranks. I think you explained it to a certain degree there. The idea right now in the game, if you are ranked Diamond in NA and then you switch servers and go play in EU with a buddy, you're unranked. So even though you played a Diamond level, you'll go in there and play at a fresh MMR unranked level and then have to work your way up to Diamond. Global ranks, this change means that if you hit Diamond in NA, no matter where you go in the world, that MMR comes with you and you'll be playing at that level in those servers. I just wanted to clarify that.
One.
Yeah,
If you're
exactly.
number 1 now, you're actually number 1. You're not
Right,
number 1 EU or
That's
number 1
cool.
NA,
Yeah.
which is insane.
It's going to set in
probably
your
going to be a
circuit.
cheater the first time. Let's be fair, but it's insane to think that you can be number 1 and no one
Number
can,
1 in the
can
world.
doubt you. But just to clarify why it's quality of life changes that are first. Operators, like, we're gonna get tons of operators over the period of the game, and sure, a ton of them are gonna change the meta. They're gonna do a lot of different things, but like the quality of life changes that happen now are gonna still be there, like 4 or 5 seasons down the line. So I'm always more excited about quality of life changes, even though when we get new maps or new operators, it's fresh. This is like go back to Operation Health, right? We're still seeing the positive effects of some of that stuff now. So I think that has an accumulative impact over the game.
I mean, at the end of the day, if you're not playing an operator, then it's not going to have the effect on your direct involvement in the game. Maybe you're playing against it, you could make the argument, but quality of life changes change every game. So let's get into those 2 new operators though, because there's been some debate since they've been revealed. Again, all 4 of us have been playing it. Cross, you've been playing them over the last week. We had a chance actually to play some games together and have some conversations and do some testing, which is kind of a tradition for me and you. We like for the past several seasons have been testing out, had early access and have been testing the new operators together. So we've gotten kind of good at it. But what are your thoughts? Like, what jumps out to you with the 2 new ops?
So we've got Ace and Melusi, which are definitely going to be meta-changing operators for the upcoming season and probably for the foreseeable future for year 5, right? We've got Ace, who is going to be a hard breacher, joining the roster with Thermite, Maverick, Hibana. He's going to be the 4th hard breacher. And we've got Melusi, who's bringing a really new and unique gadget to the defending side. So with Ace, we've all played it, and I think people are going to get a chance to play him today, but he's going to be able to open a wall from a safe distance. Now, you can't yeet his Selmas across the map. You have to be relatively close, but you are also going to be someone who's going to be able to open hatches or a wall from a safe distance, and he's got equipped with breaching charge as well as smokes, so he's going to be one of the most versatile attackers, and he's got the AK-12 with an angle grip. Again, one of the stronger weapons that is going to be equipped on a 2-speed 2 operator. So I think he is a strong operator. So I guess we can talk about Ace for a while and then move on to Melusi in a little bit. What do you guys think?
Yeah, sounds good, man. You talk about yeeting it, lobbing that gadget. What's it called? What's his gadget called?
Selma.
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 I don't know what it stands for. I know that it's an acronym, but yeah, Selma's.
Well, I got into a little bit friendly like on Twitter yesterday with people about basically I was sort of saying reserve judgment. Let's test them before we nerf them, because like every season we have this sort of community reaction where
Kelly's broken.
Yeah, like that, man. And it's I get it, I get the concern, but I think like guys, I would like a meta-defining operation. I mean, who doesn't? Like, my tweet was a little bit sarcastic. I basically said, let's just nerf everything and just play with the same operators for the next 5 years, right? But one of the responses to that tweet was, well, Ace does everything Hibana and Thermite do, but better. Well, I totally disagree.
Yeah, it's not
he doesn't. True. Hibana is better at range. If you're outside and you need to take a hatch, that's far easier. Ace has 3 of those, and he needs to use 2 for a hatch. I mean, that's not really good use of an operator if you're picking him for up and down gameplay. And I think the verdict's out on whether he's really better than Thermite because, I think
it's situational. Yeah. And that's all we can ask for as players. Like, in some situations, Ace is going to be better than Thermite. In some situations, Thermite would be better. Mentioning Hibana, one thing that nobody's saying right now that could be a factor, Ace's gadgets are also impacted by wall-mine magnets and ADSs, and Hibana's aren't.
I had that happen.
So Hibana can open a hatch, and if there's an ADS in the way, it's not going to have any impact on that hatch getting opened. And that's not true with Ace. Ace is going to require some teamwork or some burning of that ADS or whatever. And I think the big thing with Thermite is the hardest to trick, and Thermite is also the hardest to impact trick. Okay, the huge weakness with Ace that I think people will begin to realize is that Ace can be impact tricked really easy on any wall. So right now, in order to impact trick Thermite or Hibana, you have to be on a wall that has a soft part of the top, okay? And there's only some walls that are like that. For example, Consulate Garage, it's not soft at the top. You can't impact trick it in the typical way, okay? The way Ace's gadget works, he's always going to open one hole first. Then you can impact from that hole that Ace opened up. Now, granted, there's going to be a hole in the wall, and maybe that's enough to do where the damage is done for the defenders. We'll have to see how that plays out. But again, Cross and I were testing it. I would say that Ace's gadget is the easiest. Ace's gadget has the most ways that defenders can get rid of it than Hibana or Thermite. It also, though, has more potential. For example, on Study Wall on Villa, you can be on Study Balcony, throw all 3 of them on 3 different walls there. One of those walls is getting open. The defenders realistically can't deal with all of that. And think about that. If you're Thermite, you've got to be inside of Study, first of all. You've got to actually be there placing your mat on a wall. It can be impact tricked. It can be bandit tricked. And then if you want to go over to the other wall, you've got to go over there now and do this. With Ace, it's just boom, boom, boom. Now they're all 3 going off. That's really strong. But again, it's situational.
Just add it to the pros column, but the pros and cons. But this is what I'm saying, though, right? It's just there is a resistance to anything that takes us away from the status quo every single season, and it is a little bit frustrating because ultimately this should be, as Rainbow Six Siege fans playing a bloody video game, this should be the most exciting time of any season, getting the new content. It should be like, man, it's like Christmas with our new toys. And it sort of deflates that experience a little bit to the point where, like, I've had to go on Twitter and just mute a few people temporarily. I can unmute them in a couple of weeks, but for now, I don't need to be seeing that. You get what I'm saying, right? Let's bloody well test it out. And if we need to nerf them, let's nerf them. But I don't want to call for that immediately, having played 8 hours on a test server over the past week. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Right. Echoing on both of what you said, Pete, I absolutely agree that people need to get a chance to test these new operators. And then, there's going to be pros and cons. We've already seen it because we've played it for the last week. And, I'm going to say this, and people are going to figure this out, that Ace's gadget is the most easiest to trick. As an anti-denial, Cade, impacts, bandit, even mute. Even mute can stop the cascade of Ace's Selmas if he just places them down when he hears the things go off. Then you can follow that up with impacts, C4s, anything. Someone can go on the other side of the wall and shoot it, go below, all of that stuff. It gives defenders that extra time. So when people say, on Twitter, pros or coaches or whoever, when they say that he's overpowered, it's completely not true. Let's test them out. And every operator is going to be situational. And meta changing, isn't that what we kind of look forward to when a new operator comes out?
Exactly. That's what my raging rant is. Everyone. So if you go back to Mira, she's one of the most meta-defying operators we ever had. Hibana, when she came out, people were furious. They're like, "Oh my god, Thermite's gonna be useless." Well, don't you look like a fool now? right? Like Thermite is still massively played. If anything, you combo them. Sometimes you only run Thermite. Like Ace is definitely the most unreliable Heartbreaker. And if you take your example with Villa, where you can throw all of the three there. There's a mute jammer down on Thatcher's band. You have to go below anyway to get those mute jammers going, right? And everyone is setting up these examples of where everything went right up until
exactly.
It's such a cognitive bias when people go, "Oh, it's OP because you can do this." Okay, well, you could do this, or you could. What if you get spawn peaked, right? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Everyone wants something new, and people. Well, I can't say everyone, but I assume most of us play Siege because we can like outsmart and find strategies and ways around stuff, because otherwise we'd all just be playing Quake, Valorant, and CS and never touch anything else, where it's only about aim.
Yeah.
Like, I sure as hell want an operator that can be messed around with and break things and be abused to oblivion. And then I want to find out how to deal with it. Like, that should be what we're excited about, instead of always worrying about, is this balanced the second it comes out? Sure, from a competitive standpoint, I get it. But for the rest of us plebs, like, I'm not going to lose sleep over losing a ranked game because a new operator was too strong. I get to play them on the other side. If they're better at the OP thing than I am, then so be it. But
if people are, exactly. They're looking at a perspective from the operator's point of view, right? But they're not looking at all of the other stuff that you need to do for that operator to be successful. If you're going below, if you're taking the bandit, mute jammers, maestro cams out, then the wall's going to get opened no matter what, regardless of if it's a Maverick, if it's an Ace, or a Thermite Hibana, you know?
And who did you take Ace over, right?
Exactly.
Like, he has to fit in the squad, but who does he replace?
And and let's not forget that we're gonna have a 4-week test server. Like, and I think I think that Ying was a really positive. Like, I have so much more confidence in this whole process since the Ying change. They fixed Ying, or at least tweaked her really quickly, and they weren't afraid to do that. So we have a 4-week test server where we're going to be able to play all this stuff and figure it out. I think let's stop talking in code here, and let's just say what it is. The pros make the pros make new seasons less fun and less exciting for a lot of players than they should be. And I'm serious. Like, I have an issue with this. The pros have their early play sessions. Okay, they get to play these operators months in advance, and they're providing feedback on how they think the operators should evolve and be tweaked over time. And what I think is happening here is that when the operator is released and their suggestions weren't followed to a T, they already have their mind made up, and they just unload on Twitter all of the negative thoughts that they have about this operator, and they take a moment that should be the most exciting for the large portion of the community, and they put a dark cloud over it. And then you've got this echo chamber on Twitter of people who worship those pros and have literally never played this content, but they just echo whatever their favorite pro is saying and regurgitate that on Twitter. And it just turns into this little, like, again, it just turns into an echo chamber of negativity around one of the times it should be most exciting. And man, you know, like, we've had how many months in a row of operators that have not changed the meta at all, at least not immediately. Let's be real here. You're going to tell me that Yana is the strongest operator that we've had introduced in how many seasons, man? And
no, but okay. So if you take the empathy hat on, Yana hasn't been played comp yet, right?
She hasn't. So correct.
We don't know if she will have an effect. Gridlock changed a little bit. Goyo changed
Gridlock a lot, was over a year ago.
Yeah, sure. Goyo changed things quite a lot. Wamai changed things quite a lot. But is that a bad thing?
Okay.
Like, I think that's even more important. It, like, sure, you're a competitive team and you don't wanna have to like redo your stuff, but that's kind of what your job is, because the rest of us get new operators and we want to have fun in the game and we want to play the game. You're competing in that game. Otherwise, you can play a game that doesn't change. But Siege, from the start of like year one, season one, we knew Siege was going to change and change and change and change. From like, just look at Buck when he came out. Think about if he came out today. Like, Buck's insane, right? How much has he been used in comp? Like, almost every round.
Yeah.
Since year one. So, like, I want to get access to play with these operators. Some are going to be busted. Some are going to be useless. Some are going to be fair. But your job as a competitive player is to take that rule set and the things you get and then be the best with those. Not to decide how the game is going to be done. Like, I think that's the disconnect. They should definitely give feedback. They should definitely be listened to. They shouldn't run the game.
Exactly. It feels like what we saw on Twitter yesterday, that some of these pros and people who've play tested this, their own version of Ace was a different version of Ace or any new operators that we saw in the past week. So they've been holding on to these thoughts until the reveal to just
ready to
put out on
burst.
Twitter. Yes, exactly. So they've been holding on to these comments and like, oh man, this is broken, you know, because they've probably been developing strats over it because they get to play tested 3-4 months in advance before the operators are even teased, right? Yeah. So in their mind, their version, their build, it was probably overpowered. So I know I'll give him a little bit of benefit of the doubt, but again, they're also in the same boat as 90 to 95% of the player base that haven't played the new season yet.
They get 3 more months before they're actually even they'll actually see them in comp.
True.
That's the thing. Like, there's so much time. We have 4 weeks from now before they'll actually even come into the real game, and then another 3 months from there before they'll come into the comp scene.
Exactly.
There's plenty of time to balance this out, guys. Why do you have it's almost like they just want to be like, see, I told you so. They want to get that tweet out there so that when they get nerfed, they can be like, I told you so. I told you. You know what I mean? Like, guys,
but
let's chill.
Let's be fair.
Yeah.
Whenever we're right, like,
yeah. Everybody wants to look like the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah. Like, if I say something and it happens to be true, I'm going to make sure that you know that I said that.
You're going to go
if
back and screenshot the tweet and then retweet it.
Yeah, be like, this aged well, smiley, right? But I'm definitely not going back in the tweets about, like, 2 years from now when I said that if they ever added a bolt action rifle that could one-shot to the chest, it would probably be busted and there was no way to do it in a fair way. Because I said that about 2 years ago when everyone wanted bolt actions. I was like, nah, that's terrible. Like, the only way to make her so she's viable is to make her busted. And then Kelly comes out and everyone's going, dude, it's way too strong, way too OP. And we see, like, almost nothing. Like, she's just was basically pretty horrible.
You're playing
it's perfectly natural to be able to change. I was going to say, it's perfectly natural to change your opinion, though. When your opinion is disproven, you don't hold on to it. That's really dumb. Like, if you have an opinion and someone shows you it was wrong, it's cool. Just let it go and move on.
But that's the problem if you went out and wrote down your opinion with a lot of empathy, or not empathy, a lot of
force
on it. Yeah. Like, if you squeeze that opinion down on a big population all of a sudden and say this is how it is, and it turns out not to be that way, it kind of hurts the pride a little bit to go and say, you know what, all of us who said Kali was going to be OP, we were wrong. So maybe we should take a breath with some of the new operators until we see if they're broken.
Yeah.
And then we can be like, I got full empathy with them because they have to, like, I know how it is to get a new operator. When Capital came out and he had nades, the blue smoke and the fire that, like, flew completely straight and insta-killed you.
Brilliant.
Right? That was terrifying. Everyone was like, oh, you can't play Oregon anymore. Old laundry tanks are just boom, 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 you're dead. There's no way to win it. You could. They went through reinforced walls because I don't know why. You shot them at the base of the reinforced wall. You kill the mirror behind it and stuff. And everyone was losing their mind over it. I get it. It was horrible for comp, in like knowing that you had to do that. But as a player, it's amazing that we get that stuff. Yeah. Some of them are going to be broken. That's how it's going to be.
Devil's advocate, though. Because I entirely agree with this. You know, obviously the pros, they know so much about the game, and they are welcome to their opinion, and you know, often they are right with their warnings about operators. So sort of like devil's advocate, maybe they have been burnt. You know, Blackbeard, Ella went on for a good while until that changed. So maybe
but here's the counter argument to that, Pete. Mm-hmm. And this both is a plus side for the pros, and it's a negative. Okay, Nomad is the perfect example of why I'm not worried. Okay, Nomad was released and she was blatantly she was broken. Okay, her air jabs detonating midair was broken. The pros had voiced that concern in the workshops. So because of that, Ubi had the second version of that ready to go in the test server. They put it in the test server. Everybody reacted the same way. This is broken. And then they rolled out the second version, and Nomad entered a much better place. That was ready to go because the pros voiced that in the feedback session, and she was fixed before she ever hit the live servers. Why don't we have the confidence that they're going to fix this? You know what I mean? If it's truly broken, they're going to fix it. Let's take the new season reveal should be a day of celebration for Siege, not a day of who can cry the loudest.
Agree. 100% agree, but this is their livelihood. Yeah. This is their livelihood, though, Cross. It's like this isn't a video game to them. This is their day. This is their 9 to 5, and it's like going into work. If you have a 9 to 5 job, and your boss saying like, "Oh, there's a restructure. There's a lot of uncertainty. Will you keep your job?" You know, it's just that. You know, but I totally agree with you. The new season is the time. It's like Christmas, isn't it? But you get it 4 times a year.
Yeah,
but like saying it's their job. I'm 100% with you, and I know exactly how it feels. But if you were to all of a sudden extend the football field by 50 meters, I would hope that the athletes would just instantly go out there and say, okay, I just got to get a bit more cardio. That's it. Instead of instantly throwing it under the bus and say that this is like, now we can't do it anymore, right? Like the reason
why
they're looked up to, the reason that we watch this is because they're able to learn how to deal with these things and break the game, figure out new metas and stuff like that. And the better team is like, how often have we seen an operator come out and then all of a sudden the good team isn't winning anymore? Mm-hmm. That's not really a thing. Sure, it might be a little less enjoyable for them to play a certain site. Luckily, there's more maps and there's different sites to play, right? And you can ban operators. Well, you can't ban all of them. Sure, okay, 20-second meta. Well, Ace can remove shields.
Yep. That's another positive.
Maybe don't worry about using Ace for Hop Rage. Maybe he's really good for removing shields.
That's a great point. And that's one of my favorite things with Ace is that, so with Thermite, you know, a lot of people talk about roles. Like if you're playing the support role on Thermite, you're not expected to frag out because you're playing Thermite. You're the hard breacher. You usually have diffuser. Ace, if all else fails, he's got the best gun in the game. He can just go frag out. And I know that might seem like that might make him appear broken or overpowered, and we'll have to keep an eye on that as it goes. But I really like that aspect of him. It's not like you're picking Thermite, you're like, oh, you know, here I am on Thermite. You're picking an operator who can handle any situation. He can bring smokes. He can literally open the wall, kill everybody, and smoke out the objective for the execute. Like, I want to see how this plays out. Okay, let's see. And I'm excited.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love listening to all three of you. I think there's like the Trinity, right? Pete was the devil's advocate. I like that he mentioned that it is their livelihood. It is good. And then Zoronic said, exactly, they don't have to reinvent the wheel, though, right? But then we also have them saying there's a lot of utility now. And then Flank brings up a great point about how Ace can take out those utility. You don't have to use it on a hard breach. So it's a good balance, I think. Yeah. And then I think time will tell. You know, it's just. But again, I want to go back to, as a content creator, I want to go back to celebrating the reveal and the release of a new season over Twitter being a bitch fest, and then players going into this new season with a biased mindset that a character is overpowered or not.
And just to be even more of an Ubisoft shill, I mean, keep in mind they rolled out this new season while working from home. You know what I mean? Like, that's not a small feat. I think that should be, they deserve a pat on the back for that. With that said, there was some things that were planned to be coming this season that they had to delay, understandably so. But we're still getting, 2 new operators, the house rework. And, So anything else you guys want to say about Ace? I mean...
Just the last thing, just with regards to Pro League, and also with what you were saying, Cross, about this not being an echo chamber, like, I think that's really important too. Like, playing devil's advocate, I actually agree. My initial point was definitely about testing them anyway. But it benefits Pro League. When I watch Pro League, I want to see the new operators getting used. It's boring as sin if I watch Pro League and I just see the same 5 operators getting picked all the time.
We also have a viewer number increase. There's a viewer number increase on the first Pro League day where new operators get out.
Yeah, I want to see how they handle Ace. I want to see the best players in the world do what they come up with, and I want to see them challenged. Surely part of enjoyment in a video game is the challenge aspect, or as we all play every game on bloody easy mode. This is a challenge, and it's been laid down to them. How are you going to cope with these powerful new operators and incorporate them into your strategies? And we will all, I just hit the mic, and we'll all enjoy seeing that happen.
Yep.
Completely agree with you on that, and that's one of the most fascinating things about Pro League. You could probably go back to when G2 was Penta, when they were the meta setters in not only just EU, but the entire Pro League. And then you saw that transition into the other regions. You never saw, a strat come out of NA and then get followed by EU. It was EU and then NA. And now it's changing. Now everyone's thinking about that. Maybe that's also one of the ways it comes out. It's because they're already thinking about using the new operators and then new strategies and how to incorporate these into their games. Everyone wants to win, but when it comes out on Twitter like that, it's like, you can see that they care. Like we complain because we care about this game, right? We love this game.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't always be about coming it out in a negative way. Was my point. Yeah. But I think something
big that changed is that everyone has a much bigger following now than all the way back then. Like back then, if you made a tweet, no one really gave a fuck. Right? Let's be fair. Like if you made a tweet, people would look at it and be like, maybe. Yeah. But now, if you there'll be hundreds of replies just going, yeah, it's 100% right. This thing is OP. Well, have you played it? No, but I know this guy's right.
Yeah.
They're creating ghosts that don't even exist, right? So we have these horror stories of things that are to be, and then you get to try them, you get to see them, and it's not that bad.
Yeah.
I think things blew up too quickly for Siege. Like we didn't take 5 years to grow as an esport and stop. It went from pretty chill start to all of a sudden really big, and everyone has a massive voice. I mean, we're sitting here just 4 content creators and having a podcast about Siege and people willing to listen to that. That was not going to happen in year 1.
Right.
I think opinions are being listened to a little bit more now, and maybe people are a little too quick to just jump on one side instead of staying a little back and then watching it play out and then figuring out what side they want to stand on.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of broken, let's talk about Melusi, because I do think she's broken. I'm joking, but she's the one that worries me. Okay, I think Ace is strong, but he's not going to slam you in the face. If Ace kills you, it's going to be because he won a gunfight. Now, granted, he's got a really good gun to win gunfights. Granted, he can open up walls, but his utility doesn't oppress you. Melusi, she is a beast. So anybody who's not familiar, she has the 3 guys that she can place anywhere on the map, really, that when you enter its area of effect, it slows you down, similar to Clash. It doesn't do damage like Clash, but it slows you down. They're bulletproof. Any operator can melee them. And I think that's the one that worries me.
Well, I know we're going to talk a lot about how the gadget works and the frustration of it and whether or not it's good to have all that utility, but can I just say, at least with Clash, it was electric and it was it was like being tasered a little bit. What's the deal with Melusi, or Majuli as we call her in the UK? There's a joke you won't get. All the UK
we were calling her molasses, so
so with Majuli, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, how the hell does it work? It's just sonar, but it makes you.
It's just a strong subwoofer.
Yeah, basically.
It's a Hans Zimmer's speaker.
It's called a Banshee, so it's appropriately named for something that affects your perception. So you get this loud humming noise, right? But it's also pushing you back. It's slowing you in your feet. It's not going to affect your aim. It's not going to affect your vision, but it's going to kind of give you a little bit of a heightened audio cue in terms of just being in your headphones, and then it's just going to bring you down to a -1 speed around it. Right? I don't know how the inner workings of that goes, but it's basically like a slow. Think about Ella Gadget and when it came out, or something of like walking through the year 1 barbed wire where you were pretty much stuck in it until you destroyed it without having like a negative impact on your health or your aim.
I think it's almost exactly the same speed as year 1 barbed wire.
Yeah.
It's very close at least. So wait, you're really afraid that she's busted?
I'm not afraid. I just okay. Here's the thing. Again, I just Ace.
Low risk.
Ace is going to open up walls and stuff. Like okay, and that can be really strong. That can help a team win the round, no doubt about it. But with Melosi, you're going to come around a corner. You're going to see this thing. You're not going to be able to do anything about it, depending on what operator you are. It's going to slow you down. It's going to make noise. Somebody's going to peek you. Somebody's going to kill you, and you're going to walk away saying, that wasn't very fun to play against. And that's what I'm concerned about.
I agree with that element. I don't agree it's necessarily overpowered. I agree that it's not a fun element to have in a video game where that agency is taken from you in that sense. Though there's plenty of that in the game already. I know you're going to come back with like leech and
I'm
flash.
a devil's advocate, that shit.
Yeah.
So, Elements are not fun. Electrified barbed wire is not fun.
Mm-hmm.
Mute jammers are not fun.
Elements are just fixed, those ironic.
They're still not fun.
Yeah,
right.
Like
true.
even though I can aim now, it's not fun having my whole screen go right. Like when anyone peeks with that, I'm sitting there thinking, what happened? And then I die, and now I blame the Elamine because it's definitely not that I didn't check it with my 2 drones, and I drove one of my drones in and spawn and died with it. But every defending gadget, whenever it affects you, it always feels a little bit meh. Even if you're getting set by a Maestro Cam or an Echo Drone or whatever it might be, if you're in a 1v1 against a Mira or a clash and it's a good clash, every single thing that isn't a gun is going to make you a little bit upset when you die. And the gun might even do it as well if the player is jiggle peeking you or shooting you through a bullet hole or through the floor. That's why it feels so good when you beat him. Like, that's what makes the whole thing worth it, is that, like, there's a million things that can go wrong, and when they go right, it feels really cool. If we don't have any frustration in, like, then there's no point in playing. There just isn't. I don't think she's worse than Lesion, and I don't think Lesion is that bad. But with Lesion, I can place them in a million different places. I'll have more of them, and I can place them further away. At least with Melusi, it only works in a 6 meter radius, right?
I think it's 5 to 6 meters.
Yes. When
so
you activate it.
I'm probably on the fence of, like, you might only have 2 when this comes out.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
The counter argument to the Lesion thing, though, she can place him down in the prep phase, spawn, peak, die. Her gadget still remains and has an impact on the
100%.
ground. On the ground.
Sure.
An IQ can get rid of the Lesion trap much easier in most situations. A Thatcher completely disintegrates a goo mine, whereas it just disables this for a short period of time. There's pros and cons. Again, it's situational, like we mentioned with Ace. It's situationally better in some situations, and you know what I mean. It's just that's just my play style.
That's how they all have to be, right? So that's how they. There are things you can do against the Lesion, but you could say the same about the Melusi. Nades are super easy way to remove them.
Mm-hmm.
Nades, like, it's fairly wasteful to remove a goo mine or check if there's a goo mine with a nade. At least these are very easy to see. They're massive, right? Mm-hmm. They create this glowing blue and hum effect whenever it's on. So it's not like it's going to happen and then you're sitting there thinking, where does it come from? Like, it's very easy to locate where it's happening. Almost like an evil eye when they're shooting at you. You're getting very good directional cue of it. Like, the only thing she brings is that she can slow people down in that area. And it's so locked down. If they get removed or if they get EMP'd or if people don't go that way, I just don't see it being worse than reinforced walls. We've had to deal with that since forever. If I come around and a wall is reinforced and I have nothing to do with or deal with it, I just got to find another option. And again, like, we can't stack them up and say, well, what if you're using this and this and this and this? Because there's only 5 operators. So if you're bringing Melusi, there's something else you're not bringing. And that's probably going to be one of the weaknesses in your setup, right? There will never be, and it's going to be better the more operators we get. because at some point, whatever is OP is not going to be that OP because there's something else that counters it in some way or fashion. Legion will be better against shields, most likely, right?
Sure.
Melusi is going to be insane on like Bank if you place it on the like insight when they try to do the plant in the corner. You can almost guarantee that you get a C4.
Right.
Because by the time people go in and they get affected, they can't really run out quick enough, so you get the kill there. Stuff like that, sure, it's going to be super annoying to deal with, but you already have to deal with either the Meister Cam, the Echo, the Pulse, right? So one of those are going to be missing. Yeah.
I think the counter argument to what you're saying, not entirely, because I think you made some really interesting points there. I suppose it's the fact that she can just put them down, spawn peek, die, and then that she has a super impactful time on the round. If you got 3 of them lying around, like, crikey. I mean, yeah, you can still use an Echo drone, Yoko drone, Maestro Evil Eye, but you can't get the that aspect of the main utility out of it. I mean, that's the only thing I would say. It's a kind of like a Jaeger type situation there, isn't it?
Or a Valk or Capcan
Valkyrie.
or
Well, think about what Clash has to do. It's not a real fair comparison, but think about like, okay, so if I'm coming up a stairs and I run into one of Melosi's gadgets, one of her Banshees, think about that compared to a Clash. So a Clash has to be there with a shield on, and Clash is going to slow me down the same effect pretty much, but also do damage, and also to be able to give callouts. Now, if I hear that Banshee goes off, I know that a player's there. I'm not getting as much information as I would from a Clash, but I still know that somebody's there. And you think, okay, well, Clash has to literally be there in that situation behind her shield without a gun out to do that. And this girl can put down 3 of them across the map somewhere and be dead and possibly have a very similar effect on the round.
That's it.
That seems strange to me.
I don't think it's fair to say that she has even close to the same, because like, so when you're saying that Clash can be there and she can give calls, like that isn't a small thing.
Right.
Clash, not only can she give calls, she can hunt people down, right? So like Bank blue stairs, you see one come up and they leave, that's massive. You can see where they went. You can rotate your whole defense based on that, right? You can have someone come up and fight with you while you're calling. If things go south, you can still shoot. It's very difficult to compare those. Like it's like comparing Blackbeard and Monty or something.
There
right?
should
like
be a
different.
huge difference though, because you're literally requiring one player compared to a set it and forget it prep phase gadget.
Sure.
And I think that there is a big difference, but I'm not sure that it's as big as it should be for that discrepancy in skill as far as using the gadget and
sacrifice as well.
Right.
You've lost a gunner, particularly when you're a pro league analyst and that, but like when you're talking at the lower levels of Rainbow Six Siege, Clash, that what you just spoke about with Clash, that doesn't.
Yeah, that's
it
right.
happens, but it's not. That is not common, man. Like that is not why people are playing Clash, and they're not organising. All right, everyone move over here. You know, they've moved around to open area. It's not like that, and it's
Would
a
you not
big.
think traps are more annoying?
Pardon?
Like, would you not think traps are way more annoying there?
as far as
Or
like a
even
goo mine.
even a castle.
Yeah.
Like, what if people don't have anything to deal with a castle? Like, that you're dead anyway, right?
Yeah.
I just don't see this world where Melusi is comboed with things that make it so unpleasant. Maybe going that one route that you decided to go is not going to work, but then there's going to be another one that will. Right? It like if you're so focused on you want to push past that, then it's already like things have already gone kind of south.
Yeah.
Like you're not pushing into a clash without someone to help you. Either, right? Like you kind of want some teammates there. You want to have drawn it out, whatever. And it's probably gonna be not that fun in low elo or in casual for that matter when you're alone and you're against 4 people and that one's there. But the Capcan trap isn't either. Neither is the barbed wire, the Echo drone, or that's more my point. I don't know if it's gonna be that bad.
Yeah, okay. So I am on the side of Dylan when he says it's powerful, but I'm also, from this discussion, I'm hearing that it is very situational. You brought up, Bank, you brought up Villa, you brought up map examples and sites that are commonly seen either in ranked or in pro play. And then we're also talking about trying to figure out how to use Malusi's gadget and then build a roster around Malusi. If you're bringing her, you're not bringing a smoke, or maybe not an echo, so you're losing some sort of utility that could possibly win you the round. But you're also talking about, if she just places them down and she dies, okay, there's an operator gone, you're playing a 4v5, a gun's gone. But then if there's an attacker that has maybe nades or Zofia or anything like that, she's dead. And then when people are trying to push down the site, it gives the defenders that extra, that one last lifeline to clutch up the round over, let's say, if it's like a 2v3 and then 3 people rush the site and win the round, So it sounds like it's very situational. I'm also leaning towards she might end up with 2 by the time, we're done testing her. Or I think the range is fine, 6 meters. If you put it in the center of a freaking site, it's 12 meter diameter, right? Yeah, if I can get that right. So that's an entire site. And then one thing we're also forgetting about is she not only slows people down, it's also an intel gadget.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyone comes close to it, even if you have a hole open in the freaking ceiling, right?
Yeah.
Sledge opens it and doesn't see where the Banshee is. If he's walking over it, he gives off that hum, even if it's just for a split second, So I think she brings a lot to the table. I'll refrain on saying if she's overpowered or not. She is a 3-speed with a shredder of a gun, so she can, just place her gadgets, forget about it. Or if she's a roamer, she wants to place it in a choke point, she can take out a couple of attackers with her, and that's a win-win right there. I'll refrain on saying if she's overpowered or not for now, but she's definitely one of the more meta-changing defenders we've seen in a while.
Cross, you made me think on vertical defenses, what you could do is open up the floor, place these everywhere, and then just wait for them to come in above and just walk like shaking along the floor, and you can just nitro sell them all, and see.
Yeah,
I think you're actually going to see that.
We played Villa bathroom, right? The trophy is one of it's either the first or the second most picked site. You put one above the bathtub, right? People either have to Zofia it, nade it, but if you're protecting it with Jaegers, you can't really destroy it. So think about pushing Astro with that humming sound, that intel, that slowdown, and the entire floor is nitro. You can C4 that. So in stuff like that, she's going to be very annoying to go against. But once you've seen that setup, you're obviously going to counter it, right? But when you see that for the first time, she's going to be powerful. It's just situational.
I think you're going to see people put them on the floor in defense. So like Clubhouse, imagine you put one in gold, like the gold cage in the back of Armory. If you put one right there, and you don't touch the floor at all, when the attackers start opening the floor, they start getting stuck in there, and a C4 is so easy. Because they're so close to the hole, and if your C4 lands anywhere near that hole, they're dead.
Yeah.
And it's not going to destroy the Malusi, because that one is just barely safe on the floor.
Yeah. That's really interesting.
Shrapnel damage.
You don't have to touch the stuff or destroy the floor yourself, which is the cool thing. It can be like a extra floor level frost trap or something.
That's very true. One thing I just thought about too is like her in a roaming role. What if you had one in your pocket and you get droned out? You place one on the door that you're getting ready to get pushed by. You hold an angle on that door. When they're peeking into that door, they're going to be slowed down, making noise. I mean, it's going to be, again, all this stuff is what I'm really excited to play a test server for and figure it out. I think one of the other things with her right now, too, is to me the timing seems a bit strange. One reason that I feel like the timing's a bit strange is we have heard that we're in a 20-second meta, that maybe the defenders have too much utility to get rid of, that operators like Zofia and Ashe are being worked too hard to get rid of Evil Eyes, to get rid of castle barricades, Goyo shields, regular deployable shields, all that stuff. So then it seems strange to me to add this operator on top of that. Another thing that seems strange about this timing is that they are combining this intel, as you mentioned, Cross, with the introduction of the new secondary gadget, which is the proximity alarm. So how many times in our playtesting did you encounter, you walk through a hallway, and then all of a sudden, beep, 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 beep. You know,
It was wonderful.
Beep, 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 and then okay, I got rid of that. I'm still alive.
Yeah.
Whew. Okay, all right, you go take a few more steps. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, well, this is a bit much. Like I encountered that several times, and that was my feeling.
I think at this juncture, Flanked, we need to talk about the ideal defensive setup with 5 operators that could be the most annoying for the new season. So we have Clash, Melusi,
Oh my
Legion.
What meta is that? You need a good name for that meta. What is that? Just the molasses meta.
Yeah, Majuli.
Was the fly trap meta, like walking on one of those pieces of glue tape thingies.
The sound aspect is really true though, because the timing of it is unusual that you have the proximity sensor and the Melusi, whatever they're called. What are they called?
They're banshees. Banshees,
of course. It is strange timing, but I suspect because we had the hints for that proximity sensor well over a year ago.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah, so I think that they've been ironing that out, and it's just so happened that the timing of that. But it's obviously we have so many more operators now with grenades, and they reduced the Goyo shields. I don't think that's a coincidence that they saw this coming, and they thought, well, we're going to have all these extra bits and pieces.
Go ahead.
I don't know. I really think that proximity is going to be really, really good for new players.
Yeah.
And solo cures, because now it's so annoying when you see Jeff over holding this thing and you turn around, you hold your angle, you can get shot, and you see, okay, he's in the other end of the map now. Now you can kind of cover your own stuff. So it's almost a quality of life thing for people that just play by themselves and aren't in teams or any of that. On top of that, I think we got a very skewed and bad view of it, because what did we all do? We all went in and we all put proximity mines, right?
Right.
Because we all wanted to try them.
Yeah.
And you're running it on operators where you'd probably never run it, because in a more technical, or if you really wanted to win, you probably had to use something else. And sometimes you're giving up some pretty important things for that proximity mine.
Yep.
It's not just this, I get an extra one for free, right? Like, you're giving something up to get it. And then again, if you want to run Melusi, 2 proximity mines, well, now good luck finding a C4 that fits in there, right?
But think about what you get with that. Okay, what you just mentioned there, Melusi, as of right now, Melusi plus 1 operator with proximity mines, that's 5 different paths to the objective that you will at some point have to make a noise in order to approach that side of the objective. 5.
How often have you been attacked without having a clue where they came from?
True.
Has that ever happened? And what were you doing?
Yeah,
it's only because you can build a barbed wire for the stairs,
Okay, clubhouse cache. So you got 1 above that window. I mean, it happens where, late into the round, 30 seconds left, you're in a 3v3, and an attacker jumps in that window, and you don't see them until they're pushing cache door. Now you have a proximity mine above that, or Melusi there. You're gonna know as soon as they come in that window. You could do the same with a Legion mine, though. But I don't know. It's just, again, we'll just have to see how it plays out. There's some warning bells going off in my head right now.
It's something new, so I'm definitely trying to get used to it, right? You can get creative with these things, and I kind of mentioned this earlier. If everyone's bringing proximity mine, you're definitely giving up a gadget.
Yeah.
We played this during the test season. Everyone wanted the proximity mine to fit their own play style or hold a certain room, but we weren't bringing barbed wire or impact grenades or bulletproof to kind of give us that intel. And on the other hand, it all depends on how creative you want to get with these things. You can hold one in your pocket. And then if you think you are one of the last survivors, you can even throw it outside the window that the attackers previously pushed. Wasn't anything there. Like a Legion mine, for example, or a Grismod. There was nothing there, or a Valcam. You throw it out there, it does not make any noise when it attaches to a wall. But it will give you that, beep beep, that someone is pushing that way. And on the other hand, if you're bringing a lot of these, you're going to kind of hurt yourself and your team, because you have 4 of these around this site, 2 on the red stairs of, let's say, clubhouse cache, 1 on the window, 1 in rafters. These aren't really directional. You're just going to hear them go off, right? or maybe I didn't hear them as a directional indicators, but you're gonna hear them go off, and you're gonna be like, oh, he might be red, or he might be rafters, or might be windows. You know, it all
Depends on if you know where
man.
it is, I guess.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
really, really good point, because as a secondary gadget, it's giving you the intel of a primary gadget in a sense. You know, if you can do that, perhaps an easy solution there, if it's deemed necessary, would be to give it so it doesn't make any sound when you throw this thing out. No,
It might make it
yeah,
sound like attaching, like a small
like
click,
a
doesn't
Valkyrie
it?
camera makes a very specific
Yeah.
sound. Like
or a
you can hear
Legion Mine, you know, or a Grisma.
Yeah.
It doesn't do it as
Maybe
those
that's it.
primary gadgets.
maybe that
I
would
mean,
be the solution.
You want a louder indicator that it's been.
It makes a
deployed.
sound. It makes a distinct sound when you throw it, though.
It's like a little
Okay.
clicking
And it also
noise.
has an activation sound. You can also hear it beep, and then it has a specific beep once you leave the proximity of it. So it's very easy to tell if people are entering or leaving. There's a change in tone. It goes like beep 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 when you leave, and then it goes beep 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 when you're in it.
Okay.
So you get quite a lot of info on it. I just think it like this fixes 20-second meta. If it must do, because you can't bring all of these and have all the other stuff you want, all your deployables, all your wire, all this extra stuff, and then you
Yeah.
can't also be angry at Ace for being able to remove shields, help with the walls,
right.
Like if you were running low on time, having an operator that speeds that up is a pretty good thing. And then Melusi, sure, she slows things down. There's no difference if you have to remove a shield. A shield is way more scary than Melusi's thing, because there can be a player behind that shield that can see you and shoot you. The Melusi slow thing is never going to kill you. Somebody has to peek into you, and it doesn't affect your aim.
Yep.
So if anything, it just makes you crouch walk slowly into sight, like you already would have done. They just know you're coming. So the only difference is if I think you connect being slowed and then dying to the death, whereas we never knew if there was an echo drone saying he's crouch walking down the stairs, he's halfway,
Sure.
peeking left, shoot, and like we forget that death, right? Like that happened because of an echo drone or a Valcam that we didn't see. I really don't think it's
That's why
gonna be
Valk
that
is
bad. I think it's gonna
overpowered,
be
man.
hilarious, man. Or Echo.
Yeah.
Deployable cameras.
Echo Elite's
Or
coming. What'd you guys think of that Echo Elite?
Sick.
That's pretty cool.
It's a day one purchase for me.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's pretty cool. I hope his ban rate goes down some, so I can actually display it a little bit. But
Do you know what? I was thinking about that because I don't know. Echo's presence must be really high because of his ban rate.
yeah,
I wonder if some of these, like, obviously you don't want to release an elite for an operator that's never picked.
I don't
Right,
think
so
you know. Honestly, Pete, I've tried to find the rhyme and reason in that, and I don't think that you can make any correlation. I really don't. I think
Did someone somewhere? What I'm saying is, I suppose, did someone somewhere go, look at his presence? He must be out there all the time. Give him an elite, and it's like, guys, we don't see him. Do you know what I mean? He's banned all the
They
time.
probably planned that elite when he was played so much that everyone decided to ban him.
maybe.
That
I don't
that would
know.
make sense. Well, he lost the shield, right?
Yeah, he lost his shield.
Yeah,
His
he
deployment.
lost his.
I got impacts.
Yeah, I put a thing out on that. Yeah, yeah, he didn't gain the proximity. He's the only one that had a secondary gadget change that wasn't due to gaining the proximity.
Right. Yep.
So to summarize, to sort of like conclude all this, so we all think that these two have potential to be pretty powerful, better changing operators.
I think that they are the strongest DLC operators we've seen
Which is a
in
good
a
thing,
long time,
right?
in a very, very long time.
Which is a good thing. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, besides like Alex mentioned earlier, when Hibana came out and then Mira came out, those were back to back.
Yeah,
And we never
Yeah, but I
saw
don't think we've seen a
a
combo.
meta defining.
no,
No.
Red Crow, Echo and
Uh,
Hibana. man, that
Yeah,
was
Echo
pretty-
and Hibana, yeah.
Mira and Jackal are the only
Yeah.
two combos we've seen in such a long time where both of the operators could have a proper effect on the meta.
yeah.
Yep.
I don't think Melusi's going to have any real effect. Like, she might get played, but you don't need to change your playstyle around her. You're still
Exactly.
bringing Sophia, all that. But, like, Ace is going to actually force you to do things a little bit different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Which
You're
is
gonna have to protect. You're gonna have to spend utility to protect your utility with Ace on the board.
well, you have to
impacts. I think are
expend-
going to be more important. Like impact tricking is going to play a bigger role against Ace. I think that's something that I'm predicting now, and I'm excited to see it go down. I'm excited to get in a test server to see how this.
We might see people. You know, garage defenses they're strong still, right?
For the most part, yeah.
3 hard breachers, yeah. But now it's going to be a little difficult to protect that wall. I mean, if I said, if attackers are spending all the utility to take out the bandit, going above, spending utility to open that wall, the wall's going to get opened either way. But now Ace has 3 of these Selmas that could, after opening the wall, take care of gadgets inside the site. So we're going to see probably, I don't know, we might see people just give up the wall and play utility in the site. We might see, like I said, meta shifting.
If you do that, let's say Clubhouse Cash, if you bring your Mav or your Thermite or whatever you bring to open that wall, because you want a real breacher to open it. Then you bring Ace as well to like make it easier to do that. You can maybe open Garage Wall and then use it over there. If you mess that up, now you can never open that wall again. Because you have basically the equivalent of a mirror window in the middle of the wall where you can sit inside Cache and yeet C4s out and kill whatever is out there. Thermite can't plant there. Sure, people will go, you can hold angles, you can capital it. There's so many things you can do, sure. But this is going to go so south so many times, and people are going to see that it isn't a reliable way of doing it. And then it's going to be used like a little bit more as a flex or support thing, right? It's not going to become this crazy stable thing that takes over Thermite and like if we're looking at for comp, for example, even when the walls are open, that's normally actually when defense starts winning, right? Like the wall gets open, they cut things off, and then it's going through that. That's the difficult thing. And now I guess you have Melusi to place one on the floor, so even if they do open it, they can't get in because they have to remove that first. We're missing some deployable shields, so Echo might see a little bit more play. We completely forgot the fact that Kali has an SMG now in her lands. It's 1.5 seconds instead.
That's one of my favorite things about this patch. Yeah.
The 1.5 lands is insane.
Yeah.
You can't take your batteries off anymore if you're not like hucking the wall. And Amaru, like you guys might think that Ace is strong. I think Amaru is the only operator that is gonna be too strong with this.
Really? She's different.
So fast.
Do you still know she's? Sorry, Cross. Go on, mate.
No, we did some math. I think it is. I don't know if they said it in the patch notes, but it's somewhere between 35 to 45 milliseconds from her bursting into the room and having her gun up ready to shoot. That is way faster. Way faster than the average human reaction time in terms of reacting to a sound or an audio cue of someone bursting into a window, a hard breacher that is not making an explosive or anything like that.
Well, to put it into perspective, 30 milliseconds is 2 frames for people on 60.
Okay. Like I said, it's just quick maths. I don't know the exact numbers, but it is way lower than an average human reaction.
It's way too fast, in my opinion. Way too fast. But people wanted this. People were saying, like, make it so you could shoot instantly. And then there's, the glass breaks. Sure, but what if the defenders are smart and they broke the glass because otherwise you can't hear people repelling? So if you're a defender, you have to always break the glass or you can't hear people repelling outside. So that glass won't break because you have to break it. Exactly. On Cafe now on the cocktail wall, all the glass is going to be broken if you're doing it right, and then Amaru is going to go yeet, and she's on site and she can shoot instantly. While you're placing a mirror window, like 10 seconds around.
You can hear it, and there is a visual cue as well on the corners of the window.
But you're staring at a window.
I know. It is totally.
I'm more scared about the hatches, honestly. The hatches are what scare me more than anything.
Yeah, I mean, have to open them before you go.
You think like she could, because the windows, like you're always there. Every attacker in the game has a potential to enter a window. Most of windows, we should say, they can repel, and the windows already register you. There's a threat, that could come from there. Hatches, not so much, man. I mean, it happened. It was Coconut that did it to me. I was playing behind bar on Coastline, Aqua. The Aqua bar there. I was playing behind there, doing my normal setup there. He came up the hatch and just killed me. The one that's over there by the Aqua couches, right below the static cam. I'm not used to an attacker having to worry about that ever. I've never had to worry about that in my entire life. And he just came up and killed me. And it wasn't reinforced, but it was intact. You know, I mean, that is, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so I think
I
it's
want
the
to
G8
let
angle grip is
people.
what makes it broken.
That's
What is
another
it?
thing. I want to give
I think it's the
people a
G8
little
that makes it
taste of
broken.
that before we say it's too fast. But I think it's too fast.
I think if she just had a gun with way less ammo, like if it's a banner yeeting into sight like that with only 20 bullets, you actually have to do well.
Right.
But if you yeet in there with an angle grip LMG, which you're gonna do, right?
Yeah.
And you can insta ADS. There's angle foregrip on it. Takes you like 150 milliseconds from when
It's pretty
you
fast.
hit the window to when you can get your first accurate shot off, and you can keep shooting for another 3 seconds straight, just going. Brrr.
Yeah.
Like G8 go burr. Like,
Yeah.
oh, it's terrifying.
It is.
I'm cool with it, but I think it could get annoying quite quickly.
We'll see.
If that becomes a very popular thing. Yeah.
It's gonna be
Again,
fun.
you know,
It's new
Yeah,
blitz.
it's gonna be fun for players like us. But again, you know, in terms of like comp play and all that stuff, you're gonna be sacrificing a heavy utility player to
Yeah.
just have yeet into a site for that surprise factor, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Well,
I like
she
the
has the
change
shotgun.
personally, but
You can
She
also
does like
you can also reinforce hatches. Keep that in mind. If you're like, I could have reinforced that hatch on in Aqua that I'm speaking of, and maybe I would in the future, and that eliminates that possibility. At least she's gonna need some help, you know, to do that. So
But
I think she's gonna be played a lot.
yeah,
I think so.
I'm excited.
Yeah. Oh, let's talk about. Okay, I know. I mentioned this to a dev once, not once, but like the other day on during our play session, and he said redacted immediately. I said, well, if you give Amaru this, quick switch to our weapon after bursting in through a wall or a window, sorry, what about Oryx? Why is he still, 2 seconds? That's enough time for someone who's being charged at to turn around and shoot Oryx before he has his gun up and ready to shoot.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? Does Oryx need a little bit of love in that sense now that we've seen it with Amaru? Or do you think that's not viable?
Well, I think it could be worse. I think it could be even worse if you did that to Oryx than Amaru, because I think there's a potential to see a lot more of it. I'm okay for seeing something like that on the test server. I think that'd be quite interesting. But he has had, he has had a small buff in this latest patch. The thing is, Oryx is a weird operator. Like, I just don't see him ever being particularly popular.
I love him. I think he's so fun.
He's a fun dude. He's consulate bank, whatever. But like that's it. I think he's a weird operator actually.
He is.
Given the universe and everything and what his special ability is.
He comes
Steroids?
His special ability is like,
the only operator to go up a hatch. But he is now equipped with a proximity alarm as his secondary. He does not impacts. He he takes 5 less damage, so he can make rotates and have that secondary gadget in his pocket or wherever. He definitely has like a content creator in mind, right? Whenever he was released, he was like is a content creator heavy operator. But now you have a proximity alarm with it, and you can be across the map with 3 dashes in a few seconds.
Talking of content creators, Cross, apparently Captain America, Ace, is a content creator. If you notice, he's taking selfies.
He's an influencer, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's just vain.
We've gone full meta at this point. I mean, holy cow. I think with
that stuff isn't for me, to be honest.
No,
with you.
I don't care about that.
That's
stuff
not
either.
for me. That's for someone else enjoys that. It's not. Me.
I'm happy they showed Oryx some love. I love Oryx. I think that what you're saying, Cross, his going through a wall to weapon ready time could be faster. I think if it was as fast as Amaru, it would be a little different just because he's a defender. But I've actually used that ability and had a lot of success evading. Like if there's an enemy on the other side of a wall, you bust through a wall and it takes 2 seconds to get your gun out, you're probably dead. But if you get a kill and then somebody's coming to trade you out and you use it to bust through a wall and get away out of a pinch area where the attackers are trying to pinch you, and like I've had some success there. But yeah, I think that this is the first of maybe many tweaks that we'll see that works to go along with your point.
Right. I don't think about this because Amaru was tweaked in that manner, you know?
Yeah.
They can never make it stronger than if you were to huck a wall and impact it and run out and shoot. If it's any faster than that, then it's busted. Because, like, if you're repelled on a wall and you are on Cafe and you yeet out of the garage wall, you're landing so far back. By the time you even realize that it broke down there, because there's no boom to it, right? Like with an impact nade.
Right.
You don't have the same cue. It just sounds like someone broke a barricade.
Yeah.
So you can't have someone just suddenly coming out through a soft wall and shooting, your thermite placing a charge, your Thatcher holding an angle. Like there needs to be some sort of indicator that this is happening, right? And now at least you hear it and you go, wait, what was that? You turn around and there's an Oryx standing there trying to get his gun up, all sweaty.
Yeah.
You have a chance.
Right. But I'm not saying let's bring it down to 45 milliseconds. I'm just
but they talked about I can't remember where this interview was. I read it yesterday. Like they have talked about they're keeping an eye on him. They want to maybe look at making him a bit faster. I just like if it gets anywhere close to Amaru, for example, just anywhere close, that would be terrifying. An impact nade and running through the wall should always be the fastest thing that you could do.
Yeah.
That is reliable. Because it takes some utility. Otherwise, you can keep doing this forever. Like, he already has some sort of a use on certain maps just in, destroying furniture.
Mm-hmm.
Where that's, legitimately a decent thing. Cafe, you can destroy all the bar tables without having to spend all your impact nades and shotguns. Like, that's actually worthwhile, right? And then you could use him to make all the rotates, and you can have a dock and stim him up, and then he's fine. You can make 6 rotates in prep phase and destroy all furniture, and now he's good.
It's such a funny ability.
Trait,
I like it. I think it's so fun.
He's so weird.
What do you guys think about the Callie buff? How she's got clashes? Wait, Alec. Okay, so Callie got buffed. She has classes SMP9.
SPSMG9.
Okay, so which is actually the best machine pistol in the game, maybe other than the SMG11. I think the SMG11 has a higher DPS, but this is much easier to control, in my opinion, than the SMG11. So she now has the CZ or that as an option. It's got a great red dot on it, or I guess it's actually considered a reflex. The Romeo reflex, and that's going to change her. But did you say she also has a different zoom level?
No.
No.
She has 2 zoom levels, but she's always had that. Her lance is 1.5 seconds instead of 2.5.
Yeah, the detonation secondary gadget is faster.
Oh, okay. I thought you said she has a 1.5 lens, and I thought you meant it was like a
lance.
Different zoom.
Oh no.
Okay.
Yeah, it's called the lance.
Because I was like, okay, that's really nuts. But okay, so 2 different buffs that came to Callie. One that the lance activates a lot quicker, and one. So I'm
Also,
really excited to play her.
Also, the recoil is going to see a reduced climb after each shot.
Okay.
For her sniper. So she's got 3 adjustments to her.
Dude, she could be scary good now.
She's going to
Imagine
be
if you
viable.
Yeah.
Imagine if you could put an ACOG on the.
I've thought about that before. I think it would be really strong.
You reckon?
On
that
the sniper.
might make me want to use her. Yeah. That might make me want to use her.
Yeah.
That's
Callie.
Well-
No, I mean, a lot of people would be inclined to use her if there's a Thatcher ban now, because her lance, the explosive going down to 1.5 seconds, you're able to easily open the wall with the thermite trick. Zoronic, you probably know about this, and you guys are also, like, when you throw an EMP, right? Thermite can take about 10 damage, and then you prevent the bandit from tricking on the other side, because the animation of him putting down the battery while Thermite's taking the damage is going to be... It's hard to trick.
Yeah.
Same thing with Callie now. If it's gone down to 1.5 second, Thermite can actively be placing his charge on the wall, and he won't get destroyed because it's still in his hand. And as soon as the Callie destroys the gadget, the defenders are not going to have time to trick it.
Well, so that Callie doesn't impact that at all, in my opinion, because the EMP can blow up while the charge is on the wall to destroy the bandit that is going to be placed, or that is there. If the lance blows up on the wall, it destroys the thermite.
I'm talking about while he's placing it on the wall. So you can time it easier with 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, the main thing it's going to impact is that bandit won't anymore have time to pull his batteries back.
That's true. That's also
because
true.
that's what bandits would be doing before. Like, you'd hear the lance, you have time to pick your batteries up, And then you're like, who cares, right? Like you have 2 pre-placed somewhere else, and you just sit and trick with the same one. At least now it's going to cost you a battery every time, or 2. If Thatcher's banned and Kaida's still in, you're probably not going to be banned. And even if you do, like, she's very, very difficult to get proper use out of, unless you start running the SMP9 as the primary and then using the sniper as the secondary, which we might see. Like, she can still open hatches one shot. I think she's going to be used more for Meister cannons and shields. That actually matters quite a lot on a shield, that it's 1.5 seconds instead of 2.5, because people don't have the same amount of time to get as far away.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to have the intended purpose on the walls that they think.
Okay.
Because you're mad at the wall.
Just the fact that you can kill somebody with her, that's what I'm looking forward to. Like, I couldn't kill anybody with her. So
the SMG shreds.
Yeah.
The DPS of that must be so high in close quarters.
Straight recall.
Yeah, it absolutely shreds. So I don't know what the DPS is, but it must be mental. I'm still probably not going to use this. She's such a technical operator. There's a lot of like switching to this, switching to that. I'm going to run the SMG. I think it's quite a high level operator.
You know what you might see is actually less Thatcher bans, because the Thatcher ban won't have as big of an impact. You will, if you ban Thatcher, Kali might be good enough now to where you can still accomplish most of the same things. So the Thatcher ban might not be as prevalent now after this. That's my hot take on this, how it could really affect the meta.
Yeah, I think if you're playing a map where you want to kite hatches, then you're sticking with the Thatcher ban, because that's forces them onto Mav. But if we're like on a main wall stuff, it doesn't really matter if you ban Thatcher, because either you're going to be actively tricking it anyway, or impact tricking or whatever, or they're getting the wall up. Like, there's so many things and ways to get that wall open now. I think you're going to be more worried about what you do after the wall gets open, and you're gonna forfeit the idea that you can keep the wall closed the whole round. Like, that shouldn't happen at like this time in Siege anymore. That you never get anything opened. I assume that's something that might help in lower ranks as well, is that having more heart breaches now mean that there's a fun heart breacher to play for a lot of people because they're new. So everyone doesn't have to like be fighting over who's going to be playing Thermite, because there's definitely going to be people that want to play Ace. And if Thermite gets spawn peaked, you have a chance.
Right.
I think removing that fear from support players, I think they're getting a lot of hate when they mess up, right? Like, Thermite dies, everyone goes, now we can't win. Like, instant default attitude is, now we can't do anything.
Hard breach.
But yeah, you have Mav and Ace are 2 pretty fun operators. Mav's got nades and a good gun, and Ace got the best gun, and 3 of those things. Like, that's got to help a little bit in terms of just fun factor as well.
Do you think that was wasted on him, that AK-12? Because he's great at everything else. You could have, look at Nook or someone like that. You could have saved that AK-12, give it to someone else that perhaps didn't have such amazing utility.
I think you have to find someone that has a very important role where they're unlikely to just go frag hunting if you want to give them that gun.
Yeah, exactly.
I think if you gave that to Nook, it would be insane. Whereas like Fuse doesn't get to use it that much because everyone's thinking about using the cluster charges, and Ace is going to be wanting to hot breach things. So.
I understand. I understand where Pete's coming from with that.
Yeah,
I do.
I don't think it's wasted on him, but I do fear that gun.
Just
might
give him
get
the MPX; he'll still get picked, Cross.
He will. Now that I fear for the gun, not the operator. That AK-12 might get nerfed because it's on a 2-2, and then it might be.
What about the other hot breaches? What about the other hot breaches? Like, Thermite's gun is insane.
Thermite's gun's insane. It didn't used to be because it was one of the difficult guns to control before the new recoil got placed into the system. A lot of people hated that gun because it was very unreliable to get kills with, even though it hit like a truck.
That was just because it was bugged, right?
True, yeah. The sight alignments were bugged.
That was the sight misalignment. That was the same with the L85. Well, every gun, basically.
Yeah.
Thermite's gun hits like a truck. It's super easy to control, mega accurate. Hibana's gun, angled foregrip. destroys.
It does shred.
Only
I
downside
mean, it's got its
is 20
downside.
bullets.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the only downside is 20 bullets.
Just use it
right?
as a secondary and use the SMG as the primary.
And Mav basically has the R4C.
Yep.
Yeah, Mav's gun is super
I think
underrated.
statistically it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
His gun is really underrated.
Pair that you can put an angle grip on it.
And grenades.
Oh, Oryx got the angle grip on his MP5 too. We forgot to mention that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And
what other nerfs and buffs were in there? Ella and Zofia, their gadgets no longer affect sensitivity. That's a very welcome change. Echo, what happened with Echo?
Drunkenness, the visual effect
That's
of the
right.
drunkenness.
It lasts only 10 seconds now?
Or the concussion. It
Well,
removed
last 10
the
seconds no matter
camera
what.
shake effect entirely from the concussion effect.
Okay.
And
It doesn't get longer now when you run. So it used to get worse the longer you moved. Now it's 10 seconds no matter if you move or not.
it's
10 seconds is a long time, though. I mean, that is a long time.
But your entire screen isn't going like this and getting worse when you move.
no
Okay.
camera
So
shake
it's
at all.
a little
which
longer,
is
but it's
great.
not as bad.
Anything else? Finka, what did you say
Finka.
about Finka?
I think 50 HP. Yeah, she got a buff. So if you
Oh, okay.
res someone who's down but not out, they come back to 50 HP from 20.
Wow.
Right? And then I think that's
Maestro and Alibi.
Oh yeah, the slug shotgun.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's a buff,
I'm interested to see how that plays out. I want to try that.
I think it's useless unless they make it do more damage. Like it's fun to play, but it was useless before.
Right.
you can get a headshot. That's pretty much it. But if you miss, it's it's still like
It's got a lot of recoil.
Not now.
No, it has almost
Not
none.
now.
Oh, okay.
That's toned right down. It's proper manageable now.
You can lift
Interesting.
mouse and it'll keep shooting the target. Like it'll fall back and reset between every shot because of the fire rate. But it doesn't do a lot. What is it? 41 damage? I think. Like you have to hit 3 shots to kill, no matter.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
That's-
headshot.
Yeah,
And
but I mean,
then-
then you could have been using anything.
TCSG or.
And I
Okay.
believe Nomad got a new secondary, right?
Really?
Nomad
so
and
Nomad-
Qaid.
Nomad and Kaid both got new secondaries.
She
Extra
got
secondaries.
Secondary
she got
options?
she got
Yeah.
Capitals.
Okay.
Yeah, she got the M9, and Kaid got the revolver, and someone else got the SAS pistol, right? The M2 or P226, the 6
I
hour.
didn't know that.
Big patch.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't know
really,
about
there's a
that.
lot. There's a lot going on here when you think about it. Anything else you guys wanted to mention as far as that patch, new operators, house rework? What did you guys think of house rework?
Like it. It's about a third bigger. You've
Okay.
got that south side of the map. You have you basically have 2 rooms on the ground floor and an extra 2 rooms above them on the top floor, don't you? You have like reading, TV, music, and what's the other one? Playroom or something connected to kids, which isn't called kids now. It's called car room. Because of the bed.
Yeah.
But no, I really like it. I like it a lot. Yeah, like part of me thinks, oh, it's such a shame because I'm never gonna play it because
it won't
never
be in
do
ranked?
quick
Same.
match.
Yeah.
I never do
Super
quick match.
casual, yeah.
But that's really an eye-opening thing because if we ever, so we've asked to talk to the dev that worked on it. We'll see if that comes to fruition. But it's really eye-opening that they've chosen to put this map only on quick match or casual, as a lot of people would know it, because it says to us, the bubble that we live in, like that out there are people that just play casual. There must be millions, because they would never ever put all this effort into a map and just throw it into casual if there weren't just millions of people that were just playing casual. But that's not the bubble we live in, right? We kind of forget that that's a thing, that people just log on and do that, particularly since the advent of unranked.
I'm sad it's not in rank, just because I'd like to play it. But on the other hand, I'm really happy that the people that do that get something nice.
right?
Right.
Like,
Yes.
why should
That's
it only be for top rank or top play, or everything has to be a pro league operator? Like, there's probably 80% of the player base that are playing the game purely for fun and no other reason at all. It's okay. They have stuff.
Why not
Like,
bring it into unranked?
I think they
just
want
bring
it
it
to
into rank and see
mirror.
if it's.
Yeah, we have to be careful though, because like year one, I after playing, was it called Article 5?
Yes.
I was like, oh, put Bartlett in the game, and
Oh, I hate
now, yeah. Do you know what I mean?
I was with the movement. I wanted it in the playlist, and then
So
and I regret it now.
So you got to be careful what you wish
Yeah,
for. But
I don't think it's a viable map. Even in the short time that I've played it so far, I think it's better, but I'm glad it's not going into ranked. I'll say that.
I'd like to know what the decision-making process was behind this whole idea of a casual rework, though.
Maybe just that, Pete, just to show some love to the casual player base,
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I mean, the house has been under construction since releases, but it's time to finish it.
Right?
They got to use the Grand Larceny packs or something.
I like the color scheme. I like that they cleaned it up. I like that it's definitely more. It definitely feels like there is more strategy involved with attacking on it. The issue I've had, the extra staircase helped some, but I still felt like every time that I attacked and the defense was upstairs, there was no way for me to really get on that level without dying. If I got to upstairs, the defenders really messed up because
you weren't picking Amaru enough.
I guess no.
Right.
Yeah, maybe that's the answer. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, it is kind of a shame, like you said. I would almost like to see him like throw it in unranked and give me half of a season with it. And if I enjoy it, then maybe it can come into ranked. If not, then it goes out of unranked and no harm done. But I don't know.
It could
follow
survive
same philosophy, though.
Yeah.
Like when
I'm
they make
50-50
maps, surely
on that.
it's. Do you not think they follow the same philosophy-ish when they make maps, even if it's a casual rework or a rank?
Well, as far
In terms
as
of
like
where hatches have to be, how many doors, how many windows,
Sure.
how the rooms are laid
Yeah.
out. I think it's just house skin on a good map.
Yeah.
Like it was Jeremy had something to do with it, and we've all talked with him before, and the way that like rooms are made and what is allowed and what isn't allowed with how you can get from places to places and stuff. I don't see anything wrong with that being in ranked, other than if it joined somebody or some other map probably had to go. Like honestly, that's the only downside I'd see with it. And when map bans get into the game eventually, why not do that with every new map? Just throw it in there, and then people can play it if they want to. In ranked, it's a good way to learn it and get some. Like we talked about it with Pro League. We want new maps to be in Pro League, right?
Mm-hmm.
So people get to show us how to play them. Why can't we play the casual map in ranked? I don't know. I'm sad that we don't get to play these like dumb old shit maps in ranked.
I'm not.
Really?
It was good fun.
I'm not.
Like I really enjoyed
that
it.
surprises me to hear you say that.
I still to this day, every single day, have people that complain about the map we get. Nothing changed since year one. It doesn't matter what the map pool is. People will moan and complain about one of the maps no matter what.
That's just people, though. People.
Yeah, so let them have all the maps.
Head out, Yeah.
It doesn't matter if they go, I don't like Outback, or they go, I really hate Plain. That's the same to me. I don't care.
I think your argument, it comes when the map ban system, map vote, map veto, whatever you want to call it, when that comes in, maybe your argument could hold some water then, because well,
No, I agree with Pete on that. It's at that point, it's like, well, okay, do I want to complain about getting the same map, or do I just want to pick the lesser of two evils there? Or, sometimes you might get, just lucky with two best maps, and sometimes you might be stuck with, picking between Yacht and Plane.
Yeah.
Which one would you
you've
pick
got
then?
you've got Yacht, Plane, and Bartlett. Yeah,
you could do that very easily. You simply make it so the maps that are in the pool can only ever be one of those. Like the maps that are outside of the pool right now, they can only ever take one of the three spots. So your team will always be able to guarantee that you don't play that map if you don't want to play the old maps, but then you don't have a say in the ones that are in the comp pool, right? So it's easy enough to make a
make a case for that never being an issue, but allowing people to play these off maps every now and then. Like, I'm fine with maps having to be all comp. I just don't think that ranked is able to decide what is competitive and what is not. Like, you can decide what you like to play, that's fine. You can't say a map is bad. Like, none of us here have the ability to go in and break down a map good enough that we can decide if the map is good or bad. And decide if we like it. That's a very, very, very different thing.
It's the criteria by which you judge it.
Yeah. You can decide which sites in the map are shit, but other than that, you're right. We can't really.
Yeah, but maybe we don't know how to play them.
Map. True.
Yeah.
You never
Coastline
know.
Blue Bar. If I told people when Coastline came out that I would probably think that Blue Bar and Sunrise was going to be one of the ones with the highest win percent, I would have been called a moron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people play Penthouse. Right. What about Theme Park? I think Armory is probably going to be the worst side on that. Like, overall in the long run.
No, I agree with that. Armory is
if you
very
look at
easy
Bank,
to take.
Open Area was one of the ones with the highest win rate for a whole Pro League season.
Yeah. It definitely
We're pretty damn bad
changes.
at judging maps and sites. Like, we're really bad.
All it takes, like what I just said about House, that I felt like if the team's on the top floor, I could never really get up to the top floor. All it takes is me finding maybe one angle or one window that I can exploit as a power position, and it changes all of that. And maybe I just haven't found it yet. Yeah, exactly. Or maybe, like you said, Amaru. Maybe Amaru, I wasn't using her right, and it completely changes that. It's all possible. The problem is, and I think this plays into what you're saying, Zeronic, it's much less likely for that to be found out if it's not in ranked. So I kind of get what you're saying there. I do, to a certain degree. With that said, I think that like, if you look at Yacht, okay, I enjoy the complexity of Siege, and part of that complexity is vertical play. Yacht offers very, very little of that. So I can look at Yacht and say, okay, there's clearly issues with this map that separate it from other maps that I really enjoy. So maybe this one doesn't belong in there. That's kind of my thought. And again, it's not me saying that, because if you're playing that map in ranked, you have a chance to win it, and the other team has a chance to win it. It's not like they're playing on border and you're playing on yacht. You're both playing the same map. Whoever wins is going to play the map the best. But yeah, I don't know. I just remember like Fortress. Okay, Fortress was in for like 2 seasons, and everybody after the first season was like, "Get it out," you know. And it just felt like it just felt like it was beating us over the head. So I don't know. I guess I just don't want to make that mistake.
So people warmed up to Fortress.
Yeah, to a certain degree.
By the time it got kicked out, I think
it still felt like those corridors were super long. Sure. There were so many
what's the point in getting think about what it is we're asking for. We want new maps, but we don't want them to change. Like, what is wrong with us?
Right. Outback has grown on me.
Yacht. What was the data we got on Yacht? It had the most balanced bomb sites win attack rated.
Yeah, because nobody could do anything. I know.
Like, it was 50-50, right?
Because
like,
it was team deathmatch.
Everything was sure. But then Isabella comes out or Tower. I just don't get this, that we want new maps, but we want them all to stay the same.
Right. Like, no, you're right.
It makes no sense. Every map has to have destructible floors. They have to have walls that go into the site, but they also can't go into the site. There needs to be 4 windows, but there also has to be 2 doors. It's like, at some point, we just got to get a map, and then we got to like stick with it and learn how to play it, and then we judge it.
Because in a way, you make a good point there. Because when I first played Siege, there was a lot of enjoyment in like these certain different aspects of things. Like, for example, with Tower, you know, like the whole fantasy of rappelling down a building. And I feel like that's gone now, that we are judging maps in such a specific way that we're not thinking about this fun element, and like completely understandably so. But it's like making it a more joyless experience, I suppose, is my point.
Well, I guess you could make a bigger difference between ranked and unranked then, and you could go in and say, well, ranked is only whatever the maps that are in Pro League at any given time, and then even maybe limit the Pro League map pool, and then we go full sweaty tryhard there. It's only the maps that are approved by the best of the best and the best. And then in unranked, we could play maps that are like with the same rules, because the reason I don't want to play quick play is I don't want people leaving and joining all the time. It's just not fun.
3.5 minutes is also
I don't want to get spawn peaked and then have to sit here and wait for someone outside looking in through the same window for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right? Like that makes me leave, and then I've left that game, and now they need to get another one in. He comes in and leaves again, and it's not a good experience. So if I could play with operator bands and stuff and get to try these new maps and have that experience that you're talking about, Pete, where we like the Grand Larceny stuff where you could destroy everything, that was hella fun.
Mm-hmm.
Where did that whole thing go with, like, why does it always have to be the highest competitive viable? And that's from someone who, like, I only play ranked, and I really want to play in like higher ranks. I have a lot of fun there, but I don't see why I shouldn't be able to go and just dig around and have fun for the same rules. Like, that's why we play games.
People lose sight of that, though. And people have lost sight of having fun and traded everything just to win. And they want to do exactly what they're comfortable with because they think that gives them the best chance of winning.
Not gonna carry that elo to your grave. No one gives a shit once you're done.
Exactly.
Do you guys go ahead, Pete?
No, it's cool.
I was just gonna say, if you guys, unless you guys have anything you want to talk about with the new patch, do you guys want to jump into the Save Siege # Save Siege a little bit here before we end?
We can definitely talk about that. But did you guys see that game cancellation or match cancellation is going to be tested in the new patch?
Oh
yes, that's true.
So
it's a new feature that will allow players to cancel their current ranked match under the condition that team sizes are unbalanced at the beginning of the match. So if a player disconnects before the first round, or it's an uneven lobby, then you have the match cancellation vote option. But you have to see through the vote, and everyone has to vote to cancel the match so that your MMR isn't impacted at all.
So you only get the option if you are short one player, correct?
Yeah,
to vote
before the first.
So you can't just look at the other team and be like, "Oh, I just looked them up. They're all diamonds, so I'm going to cancel this match."
Right.
Okay.
You don't even get the option.
Okay. That's good.
And if you LD4 before the cancel vote has gone through, you get an abandon sanction. So you have to respect and wait for the vote to go through and be successful for you to be able to cancel it as well.
Okay.
Quickly on that as well, they changed how they interact with like siege data and battle line. That's more a straight forward thing now. So they work together in a different way than they've done before.
Good.
Which is hopefully a good thing. And I haven't seen any lobby freezes. I just noticed that I haven't seen any lobby freezes for like the last week. So I think something's changed there as well.
Yeah,
we just haven't been told yet. Okay, nice.
Hopefully you're onto something there. So, Cross, does the siege need saved? What's going on?
I don't think it needs saving, man. I might get a lot of flack for this, but I am one of the firm believers that Siege is in a really good state. I face cheaters every day. I log in, I get a rollback from Diamond to Plat 1 or whatever. But I like the state that the game is in right now. It's not perfect. Like no game is. I know we're in year 5. There are certain bugs that could probably be fixed or patched. I'm not going to talk about game development because I don't know shit about it, but I don't think the hashtag is necessary. It's just given an avenue for people to use the word save to imply that this game is broken and it needs saving. That's my too long didn't read version of it.
So we obviously need to talk about the origins of it, and it comes from a Pengu video.
Yeah, I'm wearing his shirt right now.
Yeah.
Pengu 6. So I obviously love the guy and support him.
So perhaps in fairness, we should really link that original video down below. It's like a 2-hour video where he, in fairness to the argument, and he talks about basically, if you're not aware, what he foresees as being all the issues in Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah,
and
his video is not called Save Siege. That's important to mention, Pete. His video is called Everything Wrong with Siege.
Yes. Where did he invented the hashtag though, right?
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
I suppose the problem, if you watch that video, he's on the point on so many different things.
Yes.
Like when he talked about colorblind support, and it's been years in the making. I mean, you can't help but empathize with him, and like obviously playing this game for a living. But I don't know if I agree with the hashtag, because it creates this negative atmosphere. And like Cross was saying, when you use a hashtag like save, it sounds like something's in peril, like there's like major trouble. Well, I'm not really seeing it myself, although I do hear pros, upset about the meta that they're going through. But the truth is, the vast majority of players aren't playing that version of Rainbow Six Siege. They're playing a very different. You guys earlier talked about the utility removal simulator. Most people aren't playing that.
Right.
Most people aren't. And I feel that there is a bit of bandwagoning going on where people idolize Pengu. I mean, he's been my favorite pro player forever. Like, I have utmost respect for him, but I don't necessarily agree with the sentiment behind the Save Siege hashtag. And the people idolize, their favorite content creators. Pengu has like this massive following, and his words carry a lot of weight. So that's all I would really like to say on the topic, really.
I think it's dangerous when you have really good feedback to give, which some of it really was. Like client-side bodies, the fact that they soak up bullets or can be different places is horrible. And it could cost a massive tournament. It really could. But you're taking this thing that is fairly rare, and then you're blowing it up to it could cost a tournament. Sure, it might, but so could a disconnect, a broken like memory, whatever, right? Like there's many things that could do it. We know that there's data cap and there's so much that can go over the network. It's probably never going to be server side. Like Debris didn't go server side. They changed the physics on it, so it's always the same, right? But it didn't go from like client side to server side as far as I understood. They changed the actual polygon whatever, so it always falls out and doesn't stick in the window. Maybe something like that could happen. But I think it's important to at least have an understanding of why things are the way they are, and I know that all competitive players have an easier way of getting this info than the average Joe. They have ways of talking to them, and if you don't burn those bridges, you have ways of communicating. So if you have, like, I think the list had probably a third of things that were 100% an issue, should be top priority stuff. One of the things he mentioned was cheaters. Like, that's not even necessary mentioning anymore. Like, everyone knows, right? Just go and watch Twitch for 5 minutes and there's going to be someone there. Like, you can open the top 5 games and probably there's going to be a cheat in one of those. Like, that's how it is right now. It's pretty bad. It's going to get better. There are reasons that it's bad right now, right? Like, cheaters found a new way of doing bad stuff. The bodies thing, like client-side bodies, I'm sure he knows some of, like, why that is the way it is. And like, blowing it up to this has to be fixed, it's been 5 years, like, that doesn't change anything. Then you use comparisons like CSGO or Valorant. It's completely different games, way more simple, right? They don't have to render a bullet hole in a wall for every bullet sprayed. Like, it could be 400 bullet holes in the game in one map, and they all have to be rendered perfectly or things go south. So you have all of these things that are legit problems that could be fixed and that should be fixed. And then you throw in stuff like Alibi hologram should have skins. Alpha packs should do the. Who cares? Like, is that really that important? Like,
it's not deserving of a safe siege.
No, exactly. Like,
Right.
if we're pretending like this is some heroic thing to make the game better, first off, holding signs up on Twitter don't do anything. I'm sorry. I don't care how many
Hashtag
retweets,
Bossier called.
Can we all just can we just say that was probably going to happen whether or not that was a thing?
Yeah.
Like, let's be fair, right? The same, like, Ash losing ACOG, it's not because of a hashtag. I'm sorry what people think. I don't believe that for a second. I think the only thing that can happen from this is that Ubi will have to respond to it, and that will slow things down. Honestly, I see that being the only thing. Maybe they will change priorities on some things, which would be fine. But I don't necessarily think that the priorities that they might have had before that were bad. We just can't be told about everything all the time, right? It's like, what are you doing about cheaters? Well, we're doing something. Well, what are you doing? Well, we want to know exactly what it is. But if they tell us that they're working on a way to, catch the latest hypervisor bypass for this and this and this, we're sitting there going, what?
Yeah.
That doesn't help.
They're not going to be speaking English to us. And, Ubisoft has, or I don't want to say Ubisoft, but like Rainbow Six Siege, when we hear about things, it has been a reveal. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everything has been a reveal, which everyone loves, and I love it personally. I think maybe that will change because we are going into year 6. They called year 5 this entire year a transitional stage with Pro League, with how the game's going to be structured, with one operator being released instead of 2 and a map, all that stuff. And year 6 is going to be different. I think we are going to get a lot of communication at quarter 2, maybe quarter 3 and 4, the second half of the year, because they have to, right? But a lot of it, like Zoronic said, it's not going to make sense to us knowing what they're doing. Like every step, it's not going to make sense.
I think
we're also not fair when we say that we don't hear anything, right? Like it hasn't been that long since we
top issues and concerns.
We got an update on cheating, and then we got an actual change in with this season coming up. With the test servers, we got a dev block with the test servers explaining things. When we had JB on, he was talking about how they want to be better at telling us like why they're doing things. I still think it could be better, and I hope it'll keep improving. I just don't think like grinding it that hard once we've been told that this entire year is going to be focusing on like gameplay or core game mechanic changes. It's about as big as it gets, right?
My biggest issue with
Check the roadmap. Yeah. Sorry. Go on.
My biggest issue with the whole Save Siege thing is that it's kind of like what Cross said, but I'm going to add a little bit of a different twist to it. I do believe that it is right now is the best time to ever been playing Siege. Like Siege is in its best state ever. With that said, I want to add for the majority of players, I do think that there is a portion of players, particularly at really high elo, that the cheating problem probably is bad enough up there to where that's not necessarily a true statement. Because of the percentage of matches at really high elo where there's a cheater involved, it's probably not the best state the game's ever been in as a whole because of that. But for 99% of the players, Siege is in its best state ever. So the whole Save Siege hashtag really doesn't do that service, okay? I think the more appropriate hashtag would probably be keep improving Siege, but a little bit faster.
You lose the alliteration.
Yes, I know why that doesn't work, but it's probably more accurate because you think about how far Siege has come, how much it's improved. We're not going to list everything, but my goodness, you just look at all the things it's improved dramatically, okay? That's why it's in the best state that it's ever been in for the majority of players. With that said, they need to keep improving. And it would be nice if they improved some things a little bit faster than they have been. And that's not going, I shouldn't say that's not going to happen, but I think it's important that people do apply pressure to Ubisoft in a constructive criticism way. It shouldn't be you guys are garbage. It shouldn't be you guys are trash. It shouldn't be that. But part of the game improvement along the way is people like Pingu making a 2-hour-long video pointing out things that he needs things changed. I think that's important. Doesn't mean that I agree with everything he said in there, but I think that he presented that video in a way. I don't think that there was anything wrong with that video. Okay. But I think I think that Pingu's intentions were probably good, but I think the whole Save Siege thing has evolved into just let's just shit on Siege together and let's just sit in our little echo chamber and talk about how shitty the developers are, how shitty the game is, and how bad everything is, and how Siege is dying. And here's the problem with that. Because if you pass that along enough, even though it's not true, the perception can be true, okay? And now all of a sudden you got the Score Esports. I love those guys to death, but I'm really surprised that they never released a video called Save Siege. and it might be coming. Maybe they're working on it. But now all of a sudden you've got these people with over 1 million subs, these people who are exposed to, different varieties of player bases who are putting out videos, save Siege. And that gives the perception to somebody who's not well informed, okay, well, Siege must be dying.
On the outside.
Yes.
We want people on the outside to come in, not to feel
Exactly.
with the idea of coming over.
So now you've got...
Actually, yeah.
Now you've got an org who's thinking about investing a couple $1 million into an esports team. Well, I'm not going to invest my money into a game that needs saved. We saw that with the whole Luminosity thing. I'm not going to go into the details of what happened there, and I'm sure that there's probably faults and blame to be passed around on all sides. But I think it's come to light that Luminosity didn't necessarily do everything right. And because of that, they put a huge dark cloud on the pro league of Rainbow Six Siege, and it didn't deserve to be there. Fact of the matter is that Luminosity did some things that were their own faults, and things probably could have been handled better on both sides. But did Rainbow Six Siege, the game, deserve to have that shadow cast over it? No. But because people didn't handle themselves well, it had it. And that's what I'm afraid is happening with this whole Save Siege thing. Last thing I'll say on it, because I know I've been talking for a while here. I come from Call of Duty. And one of the things that I've always loved about Siege is that in Call of Duty, the community all hated the game. I mean, they've been playing the same game for how many years, and the community just hated it. It was an us versus them mentality of, we hate the game, we want this, they release a new game, we're excited for a month, and then all we do is shit on the game after that and shit on the developers. Coming into Rainbow, it was like we're all on the same team. And for the first time since being a part of the Rainbow community, I've felt that we are developing that us versus them mentality, and I think that would be really damaging if it continues going that way.
I want to give you a clap, actually, for that little speech.
COD has killed itself community-wise every single time. Even if they came out and made something that actually wasn't that bad, the community made sure that everyone else didn't want to play it. And if Siege turns into that, like, we're having people that are massive influence in Siege scaring people away. And it's not gonna magically fix things. It won't. Like, there's, if you look at rank and the cheater issue, for example, of course you're gonna meet more cheaters if you're in high rank, right? Like that makes sense. Now, is it maybe a problem that the only people we give any attention when it comes to rank is the absolute top players in the entire world, and the ones that every video is going to be how to easily clap everything in champion with no aim, or like with hipfire or whatever, right? Like, we're glorifying the highest of highest ranks, as that is the top you can get to in Siege. Not even like competitive if you look at content, right? So of course they're going to meet more cheaters, and we're seeing that they have a bad time with cheaters. So now people further down that meet people that are better than them because the other guys don't want to play in the high rank anymore. It's indistinguishable. They can't tell the difference between if that guy's cheating or if he's just a really good player on a Smurf account. But he's so sick and tired of playing in high rank. So now everything is going down the line and just making it a worse experience for everyone. People are using all these tracker apps, right, to Q-dodge cheaters. So now you have half of the population sitting there not having to play against the cheaters that are tagged by third-party programs. That makes it much worse for all the people that don't do it. So all of a sudden, everyone's being split and everyone's basically just making it a little worse for each other. Then we all go on and complain about how cheaters is the worst thing in the world and how if it doesn't get fixed, the game will die. There's no good thing to come from that at all. Probably the most positive thing we could do as a community is to make sure that we say, like, tomorrow everyone's just going to play no matter what. We're going to have as many people play as possible, because then at least we might drown out a few of the cheaters in rank, right? Like, maybe we'll be more than them. But if people quit, like, high-end rank because there's too many cheaters, then it's going to be worse, because the cheaters are not stopping, right? Like, they're still going to be there. Anti-cheat is not going to be faster by you saying do it faster. Someone can't remember where I heard this. It was like 9 women can't make a baby in 1 month. It doesn't matter how fast you tell them to go. It can't be done faster.
But
I've never heard of that before.
Don't you think Pengu had a point insofar as, you know, like...
Oh, yeah, this isn't against Pengu at all.
Yeah, no. But just because, obviously, the Save Siege thing and Pengu's original video, just where I feel I did... where a lot of his points rang true were, you know, some of these issues have been around a long time. And we have had a lot of new monetized content, and if we're being fair-minded here, you know, like we talked the other week about the training, the aim range, or whatever you want to call it, and there's a lot of you know, different points that you could bring up there where, and I think, you know, it is right to apply pressure, and it is right that he has his say about these things. I mean, the timing does suck because of the global situation, and, you know, people are at home and whatnot, but it's right that he says that. But it's the sentiment around the saving, I think that's the point that just really
I think it's trying to blow it up. That's the problem.
Yeah,
like, first off, you said the stuff with monetization. In my book, I know this is outrageous to say in the gaming community. It is none of our goddamn business what the money's going to. It's a product being sold. You have no say in what that money goes to. It is the company's own risk to use that money to something that
you can still moan about.
Sure,
it.
but it's up to the company to make sure that that money is going into something that makes us want to spend more money. That's just how that works. If they take all of the money and spend it on something that none of us will enjoy, then we're not going to buy more. And then it'll fail, and it'll die out as product, and you'll have to make a new one. Maybe that will happen, maybe it won't. None of the issues that were mentioned are issues that they aren't aware of. I don't think a single thing was mentioned in that like competitive players or developers or content creators are not aware of. It might make it something that now becomes like every man knows that this is now an issue, but I think that is going to make the experience for those players way worse, because all of a sudden every time they die to someone sneaking up behind them, it was definitely an audio bug. Like the amount of people that are saying that, like I had someone come in, I was talking about this before the podcast started, someone come in and say that the recoil was different on T-Hunt compared to live build, and it's not. They were convinced that was a thing, or that it's, they always have this bug or this bug or this bug. I don't know about you guys, but like I get a bug maybe a day, like an ish. It's really hard to say when it's something that's like truly a bug that had any kind of impact and not just a little piece of debris wiggling over on a table. Like, that again, that doesn't require saving and isn't something to like panic about. It might matter at the highest level, but I don't think scaring the population is gonna do anything. You're gonna get average Joe to sit there and go, yeah, that's the worst thing in the world. Imagine if I lost to a dead guy on a floor and therefore I lost a round in quick play. It's unplayable. I can't do this, right?
Yeah, unplayable is a big difference. It's a big leap.
Yeah, I think the point about what Zyronic was saying about bugs and that, and I mean, a lot of pro players, obviously, again, I mentioned his name, Pengu, because he did the original video and the Save Siege came from him. He says he played 15,000 hours of Rainbow Six Siege, so he knows what he's talking about. But if you play 15,000 hours, that bug that I'm gonna experience once a month, you're gonna have on the daily, mate. So, do you know what I mean? Like, you're exposed to a lot more. So that's
you also play at a high level where your mistakes are like everything outside of your control will be amplified because you're so good at controlling the things that you can, right? I completely get that. And that's like I super empathize with it. I think there's a ton of things in there. Like, I want to make that really clear. A ton of things are okay to moan about. I don't think making other people worried about them is going to help.
Right.
And I especially don't think that the bandwagon culture on Reddit or Twitter, where people go, yeah, it's too bad, man, it's 5 years. Then it's a player that has played for like half a year or a year that is sitting there going, yeah, it's dude, it's horrible. Like, everything is wrong. Oh, it was so much better in year one. No,
it wasn't.
Yeah, it's definitely the herd mentality that needs to be kept in check. His video is fine. It's again, you want to moan about something, it's your opinion. It's fine to complain about things. Again, we do it because we love the game so much. Again, it's something that there's something about Siege that I said it earlier. It keeps me coming back every day, even though I face those audio bugs or something that should have been there, a range that I've been wanting. I made a video about how Ghost Recon Future Soldier had a firing range where you could have a gunsmith in front of you and test out every attachment without having to leave the range or the terrorist hunt or go back to the loadout. Ubisoft didn't have to reinvent the wheel there. It's fine to put pressure on them on those things, but Save Siege is something that might have come out of Pengu's tweet, but it definitely left his control the moment he tweeted it out.
Yeah, turned into a monster.
Yeah, exactly. So again, I don't think he intended to use his following, but again, it was absolutely out of his control.
I will say, it's not his fault that it went out of control.
Exactly, it's not his fault at all.
I think some of it was maybe a little poorly done, and some of it was definitely done with the entertainment value added. I think people are a little bit like not everyone understood the things in the same way, like which things were real problems, right, and which things were like, oh, it'd be nice if this was a thing as well. And then there's the idea of like riling each other up, and now we're rioting, right?
There's definitely passion passion definitely like bleeds out of his videos and his tweets because he certainly cares about it. But yeah, Save Siege isn't the correct term.
Yeah, and I think that I don't think Pingu's necessarily this way, but I think a lot of the pros just simply, outside of playing in Pro League, they hate Rainbow Six Siege. They don't enjoy playing ranked anymore. They don't, and it's understandable. Like, I don't necessarily fault them for that. But your opinion on the state of the game for the majority of players, you can't speak for them in any way, shape, or form. And I'm sorry. Like, I'm not saying that you're dumb. I'm not saying that when it comes to balance, you don't have good input. I'm not saying anything like that. But you have been playing this game at the highest competitive level for 4 years, man. You're burnt out. Okay? You don't enjoy ranked anymore. What's that?
Or maybe you're professional. The chef doesn't cook at home.
Exactly. Sure. That's a great who yeah. Like if I want to know to use that analogy, if I want to know how to outfit a restaurant kitchen, I'll ask a professional chef. If I want to know what stove to get for my house, I'm probably going to ask
your wife.
somebody who does a lot of cooking at home. It's two different worlds, and the majority of people want to know what stove to get for their home, not what professional stove to get for a restaurant kitchen. I don't know. I just think that I think that I don't know. The pros, kind of like what you said in the beginning, Zeronic, the pros don't realize how much of an influence they have. So yes, we get it, dudes. You don't enjoy playing ranked, but guess what? Anti-cheat is a problem. I understand that. But even if that's solved, nothing's going to fix the fact that you spent 12,000 hours playing this game, that you just got off the main stage at the Invitational, and nothing they do in ranked is going to make you have fun there again after that environment, man. I'm sorry. Ranked is over for you.
You might get destroyed by a handful of talented kids that don't care, or that care so much about beating you because then they feel like they are the world champions.
Right.
My point with the professional thing is that I can't think of anything like sport or athlete wise where people enjoy doing it once they get to the highest level. Then you're only doing it for glory, right? I don't think football players run around playing football in their spare time.
Or basketball players at the local park. Imagine an NBA player going to the local park in his free time and playing a game of pickup basketball.
And then maybe losing. Right?
Well, everyone will be gunning for you. Everyone will be trying to smack you down.
Yeah. Exactly.
And CS kind of learned this a long time ago, that it's very, very rare that you find the top players in public matchmaking. It is almost unheard of. And if you do, they're definitely not streaming it. It's definitely not like out there. It's always closed matchmaking. Maybe they'll do it with their friends and they'll have a different name change or something, and it might go on a YouTube. But like, you don't meet a pro in CS if you're playing Global Elite. That just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
That'll be on like closed off Faceit or ESEA, and sure, Faceit or CS has many more players. But again, if you are that top tier Siege player and you practice, it's your job, it's everything. You're doing all your scrims, and now you have to go in and play rank. Of course, you don't enjoy that.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Like, why would you? It makes sense. I think it's too much to ask.
So I guess to bring it full circle, when a pro goes and says, "I just tried to play ranked and had a shitty time. This game is shit." It's like, no doubt, bro. Like, okay, yeah. Like.
I mean, that's how it should be.
Right. Get it. Yeah,
right.
We absolutely
right.
understand your, again, mental fatigue, whatever. You had a shitty time. You got coconut bra peaked from an angle that you didn't know existed by, some rank star that's going to make you get off the game. That's fine. But again, you're following. You have an influence.
And the majority of players aren't experiencing that same thing. That's
exactly.
The big thing.
And everyone will echo that. Everyone will reply to that, like it, retweet it, and then people, you've got a check mark on Twitter, man. You got professional org in your bio. People are going to see that, and then again, it's going to affect a larger scene than you initially think. You're just venting. We get it, but yeah, I don't know. It's a tough thing to judge, because we
it is, and we're all emotional.
We're guilty of that. Yeah.
I think let's wrap it up on that moment. Unless you guys have anything else you wanted to throw out. Are you guys good with wrapping it up here?
Yeah,
I think so.
Cross.
I think so.
Brother, thank you for joining us, man. This was fun. Let's do it again sometime. Why don't you tell everybody where they can find you? We'll have links down in the description for you. But on what social media outlets you wanna plug here, man? Go ahead.
Thank you for having me, man. It was a blast. I would be lying if I said I wasn't nervous coming in here. I didn't want to sound like an idiot. Hope I didn't.
Nah, dude.
But
we do that for you.
Yeah, thank you. It's CrossArchon on all social media, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. It's the same handle. And yeah, I'm excited to play the new season today. So I'm looking forward to more Siege in the future. And I love the Logic Bomb podcast. And again, if you guys are willing to have me again, I'll be happy.
Absolutely.
For sure. All right. Well,
and a big happy birthday.
Yeah,
thank you.
Oh my God, I almost forgot. I did forget. Dude, today's Cross's birthday, so happy birthday to Cross.
I was wondering why there was a cake blinking on Skype.
Oh, there is?
Oh, wow.
I'm not even kidding.
Notice
the newest emote on Skype is a cake. Happy birthday, buddy.
Thank you. I didn't know Skype was giving out. Well, this is my, obviously this is my personal Skype. I don't have a CrossArchon Skype, but yeah. Well, I guess I had my birthday in there. Yeah. Thank you very much. Appreciate
All right. Well, happy birthday, Cross. Thanks for joining us. Guys, everybody, thanks for watching. Don't forget the merch down below. Have fun getting in the test server if you have access for Operation Steel Wave. By the time you're watching this, it should all be live. Enjoy that. Enjoy the new season. Maybe chill out a little bit and have some fun. Let's see how it goes. And we'll see you guys on the next one.
See ya.